My name is Emily Carter. I'm 30 years old. And the strange thing about finally choosing yourself is how quiet it feels when everything else stops. I left at 11:47 p.m. Not dramatically, not in tears, not even angry. Just done. I placed the keys on the kitchen counter, the same counter where I used to make us coffee every morning, and set a small, folded note beside them. 3 sentences. That was all it took to end 4 years of my life. By midnight, my phone started ringing. Ethan, 12:03 a.m., call. 12:07 a.m., call. 12:11 a.m., call. I watched the screen light up from across the room while I zipped the last of my bag, his name flashing over and over like something urgent, like something that mattered. It used to. By 1 a.m., I had 23 missed calls. By 2 a.m., 41. By the time the sun rose, 6:15 a.m., there were 87. 87 times he tried to reach me. 87 times I let it ring. Not because I didn't care, but because I finally understood something I should have learned years ago. Caring doesn't mean staying. I slept that night. Really slept. The kind of sleep you only get when your body realizes it doesn't have to stay alert anymore. When your chest finally loosens after being tight for so long you forgot what breathing deeply felt like. I woke up at 9 a.m. in my best friend Lauren's guest room. Checked my phone. 87 missed calls. 43 messages. Voicemails I didn't listen to. I turned the phone face down. Made coffee. Ate breakfast. And for the first time in 4 years, I didn't feel like I was carrying something heavy. Self-respect feels different. Let me tell you how I got here. Let me tell you what Ethan's mother said. What Ethan didn't say. And the moment I realized that staying wasn't love, it was slowly destroying me. I met Ethan 4 years ago. Coffee shop. Late afternoon. One of those accidental conversations that stretches longer than it should. He asked if the seat next to me was taken. It wasn't. We ended up talking for 3 hours. He was steady, calm. The kind of man who listened more than he spoke, who smiled like he meant it, who didn't rush things. At the time, that felt rare. Safe. I worked in marketing. He was in finance. Different worlds, but somehow it worked. The first 6 months were easy. Not perfect, but real. We laughed at the same things, liked the same quiet routines, built something that didn't feel forced. I remember thinking, this is what stable feels like. I remember thinking, this is enough. Then I met his mother, Catherine, 56, divorced, lived alone in a house about 20 minutes from Ethan's apartment. She called him every day, sometimes twice. The first time I met her was a Sunday dinner. Family tradition, Ethan had said, smiling like it was something warm, something I'd grow to love. I should have noticed the tension in his voice. This is my girlfriend, Emily, he said when we walked in. Catherine looked at me, not smiled, not welcoming, just looked, slowly, from my shoes to my face, like she was assessing something she hadn't decided to approve yet. Marketing, she said, not a question, a statement. Yes, I said, forcing a polite smile. That's right. She tilted her head slightly. Is that stable? I laughed softly, thinking it was a joke. It can be. I've been doing well. That sound, that small dismissive sound, it was the first crack. Not loud, not dramatic, but it stayed. She turned to Ethan. She's different from Sophia. Sophia, his ex-girlfriend, a lawyer. I didn't know much about her at the time. I would. Oh, yeah, Ethan said quickly, awkwardly. Different. Catherine's eyes came back to me. She was very driven. There it was, the comparison. Subtle, polite, sharp enough to cut. I felt it, but I ignored it. Because that's what you do at the beginning, right? You smooth things over. You tell yourself it doesn't matter. That first impressions aren't everything. That people warm up. That love makes things easier. I told myself all of that. Over the next few months, I tried. I brought flowers to Sunday dinners, complimented her cooking, asked about her life, her interests, tried to show her that I cared about Ethan, that I wasn't temporary, that I was worth knowing. It didn't matter. If anything, it made things worse. You try very hard, Emily, she said once, watching me place a dessert on the table. I smiled. I just want to contribute. She gave a small, almost pitying look. People who belong don't usually have to try that hard. I laughed, because I didn't know what else to do. But something in my chest tightened. Ethan squeezed my hand under the table. Don't take it seriously, he whispered later. That's just how she is. That became a pattern. Her words, my discomfort, his reassurance. That's just how she is. And for a while, I believed him. Because loving someone sometimes means accepting the things that come with them. Even when those things slowly start to hurt. I didn't realize then that what feels small in the beginning doesn't stay small. It grows, quietly, patiently, until one day you wake up and realize you've been shrinking just to fit inside someone else's comfort. And by then, you don't even recognize yourself anymore. The thing about pain that builds slowly is that you don't notice how much of yourself you've lost until there's almost nothing left to hold on to. Year 1, I still believed effort could fix everything. I thought if I was kind enough, patient enough, good enough, Catherine would eventually see me. See that I loved her son. See that I wasn't temporary. I brought wine to dinners, remembered details she mentioned in passing, asked about her friends, her routines, her past. I made space for her in a relationship that was supposed to be just between me and Ethan. And every Sunday, she reminded me that I didn't belong in it. "Emily, have you ever thought about going back to school?" she asked one evening, swirling her glass of wine. "I'm doing well in my field," I said carefully. She smiled. That same tight, almost polite smile. "I'm sure you are, but some careers have ceilings. Sophia never had that problem." There it was again. Sophia. Always said casually. Always placed gently into conversation like it didn't mean anything. But it did. It always did. Ethan shifted beside me. "Mom, come on." "What?" she said lightly. "I'm just having a conversation." And then later in the car, "You're overthinking it," Ethan said. "I'm not overthinking it," I replied quietly. "She compares me to your ex constantly." "She just liked Sophia. That doesn't mean she doesn't like you." "But she doesn't," I said. He sighed. "Emily, you're overreacting." That phrase, it followed me everywhere. Like an echo I couldn't shut off. Every time she said something that made me feel small, every time I tried to explain it, every time I asked him, just once, to say something, that was his answer. "You're overreacting." By year 2, I stopped trying to win her over. There's a moment, subtle, almost invisible, when effort turns into exhaustion, when hope quietly gives up. I still went to Sunday dinners, still smiled, still said thank you and passed dishes and asked polite questions. But something in me had shifted. I wasn't trying anymore. I was enduring, counting minutes, waiting for the evening to end. "Why are you so quiet around my mom lately?" Ethan asked one night. I looked at him, because I didn't know how to answer that without sounding like the problem. "Because your mom doesn't like me," I said finally. "She does," he insisted. "You're just sensitive." Sensitive, another word that started to mean something else entirely. "She told me I have a ceiling," I said, "that I'm not ambitious enough." She didn't say it like that. She did. "You're twisting it." I stared at him, and something cold settled in my chest. It wasn't just what Catherine was saying anymore. It was what he wasn't hearing. Or worse, what he refused to hear. By year 3, the comments weren't subtle anymore. They didn't need to be. Catherine had learned something important. No matter what she said, Ethan wouldn't stop her, and I wouldn't leave. So she got comfortable. Brutally comfortable. "Emily's very stable," she said one afternoon in front of his extended family. Safe choice. Safe. The way she said it made it sound like a flaw, like something boring. Predictable. Replaceable. I smiled, because I didn't know what else to do. But inside, something cracked. Again, and again, and again. It wasn't one big moment. That's the thing people don't understand. It wasn't a single explosion. It was erosion. Slow. Relentless. Intentional. And every time I turned to Ethan, hoping this would be the moment he finally stepped in, he didn't. Sometimes he'd laugh it off. Sometimes he'd change the subject. Sometimes he'd squeeze my hand like that was supposed to fix it. But he never said the one thing I needed him to say. Stop. At some point, I stopped talking about it altogether. Not because it didn't hurt, but because I already knew what he would say. "You're overreacting." So I kept it inside, swallowed it, carried it, let it sit in my chest until it turned into something heavier, something quieter, something dangerous. Doubt. Maybe she was right. Maybe I wasn't enough. Maybe I was holding him back. Maybe I should try harder. Be better. Be more like Sophia. The thought made me sick. But it was there, and that was the worst part. Not what she said, not even what he didn't say, but what I started to believe. There was a dinner somewhere in the middle of year 3 that I still think about sometimes. Not because it was the worst thing she ever said, but because of what it showed me. We were sitting at the table, just the 3 of us. Quiet evening. Nothing dramatic. Until Catherine set her fork down and looked directly at Ethan. "I saw Sophia last week," she said casually. My stomach tightened. "She's doing very well. Senior associate now. Impressive." Ethan nodded. "Good for her." Catherine's eyes flicked to me, then back to him. "You always did well with women who challenged you." Silence. Just for a second. But it stretched. Heavy. Uncomfortable. I waited. I waited for him to say something. Anything. That this wasn't appropriate. That I was sitting right there. That this comparison had gone too far. He didn't. He just took a sip of water and changed the subject. Like it didn't matter. Like I didn't matter. And in that moment, something inside me went very, very quiet. because I realized something I had been avoiding for years. It wasn't just her. It was him. It was always him. Her words only had power because he let them, because he chose not to stop them. Because every time he said you're overreacting, he was choosing her comfort over my pain. And I stayed. Even after that realization, I stayed. Because leaving felt bigger than the hurt. Because 4 years is a long time to walk away from. Because love, even when it's damaged, has a way of convincing you to endure just a little longer. Just one more dinner. Just one more comment. Just one more chance for things to change. But deep down, somewhere I didn't want to look, I already knew the truth. Nothing was going to change. Not really. Not in a way that mattered. And the most terrifying part? I was starting to feel alone. Even when he was sitting right next to me. The night everything finally broke him. Wasn't loud at first. No shouting. No plates shattering. No warning that this would be the moment everything changed. It started like every other Sunday. Catherine's house. Dinner table set. Wine already poured. But there was something different in the air. Maybe it was the way she kept refilling her glass. Maybe it was the way Ethan avoided eye contact before we even sat down. Or maybe it was just that I had finally reached the point where I couldn't pretend anymore. It was her birthday. Family gathered. Her sister, her brother-in-law, cousins, laughter filling the room in that forced, slightly too loud way people have when they're trying to keep things light. I remember watching Ethan across the table. He smiled. He looked normal, like nothing was wrong. Like I wasn't sitting there bracing myself for whatever would come next. Dinner went on. Small talk. Stories. More wine. And then, it happened. Catherine leaned back slightly in her chair, glass in hand, eyes drifting lazily across the table, until they landed on me. And stayed there. I still don't understand, she said. The room quieted, not completely, but enough. Ethan's hand stilled beside his plate. Understand what? His aunt asked lightly. Catherine didn't look away from me. Why Ethan settled? The word landed heavier than anything she had said before. Settled. Like I was something you ended up with when better options didn't work out. A compromise. A downgrade. I felt every eye at the table flicker between us. Waiting. Watching. Ethan laughed. A small nervous sound. Mom, come on! No, I'm serious, she continued, her voice sharper now, emboldened. You're a smart, capable man. You always had potential. And yet, she gestured toward me, not even saying my name. Just this. Mom, Ethan said again, quieter this time. But it wasn't a defense. It was a warning wrapped in discomfort. Catherine ignored it. You could have been with someone who matches you. Someone ambitious. Someone exceptional. Her eyes narrowed slightly. Instead, this. The word echoed in my chest. This. Not Emily. Not a person. Just this. Something snapped. Not loudly. Not visibly. But completely. I stood up, chair scraping softly against the floor. I'm going to leave, I said. Catherine scoffed. Oh, don't be dramatic. I looked at her. Really looked at her. At the woman who had spent 4 years slowly dismantling me piece by piece, while smiling. I appreciate your honesty, I said evenly. I really do. Then I turned. Walked toward the door. I didn't look at Ethan. Not yet, because I already knew what I would or wouldn't see. He followed me outside. Emily, wait. I stopped at the car but didn't turn around immediately. I needed 1 second. 1 second to hold on to whatever was left of me. Then I faced him. She's drunk, he said quickly. She didn't mean it. I let out a small breath. Not quite a laugh. Not quite disbelief. She meant every word, I said. She always does. You're overreacting, he said. The phrase automatic now, reflexive. And that was it. That was the moment. Not what his mother said. Not the humiliation. Not even the word this. It was him. Still, after everything. Standing there, telling me I was the problem. Your mother just reduced me to an object in front of your entire family, I said, my voice steady in a way that surprised even me. And you're telling me I'm overreacting? She didn't mean it like that. How did she mean it, Ethan? He hesitated, just for a second. But it was enough. I don't know, he admitted. She wants what's best for me. And I'm not what's best for you? I asked. That's not what I said. But it's what she said, I replied. And you didn't disagree. Silence. Thick. Heavy. Telling. What am I supposed to do? He asked finally. She's my mother. I stared at him. Because that question, it revealed everything. You're supposed to tell her to stop, I said. You're supposed to defend the person you're in a relationship with. I do defend you. No, I said softly. You don't. I shook my head. You avoid. You deflect. You wait for it to pass. That's not defending me, Ethan. That's protecting yourself. His jaw tightened. That's not fair. Fair? I echoed. What's not fair is sitting at a table for 4 years while your mother tears me down, and the one person who's supposed to stand beside me stays silent. We argued in the car for 30 minutes. Circles, excuses, frustration. Nothing new, nothing different. Just the same conversation we'd been having in different forms for years. And somewhere in the middle of it, I realized something terrifying. Even now, after everything, he still didn't get it. Not really. Not in a way that would change anything. He stayed that night, at his mother's house. I drove home alone, sat in the apartment we shared, the apartment where I had tried for 4 years to be enough. And for the first time, I didn't cry. I didn't replay the conversation. I didn't question myself. I just sat there, quiet, still, clear. I should have left that night. I know that now. But I didn't, because love, or whatever version of it I was holding on to, doesn't let go that easily. So I stayed. For 6 more months. 6 months of the same pattern. The same dinners. The same comments. The same silence. But something inside me had changed. I wasn't fighting for us anymore. I was observing, watching, waiting, for the moment when I wouldn't hesitate. It came 3 weeks ago. Sunday dinner. Just the 3 of us. No audience this time. No distractions. Just truth. Catherine was talking about Ethan's career. He's doing well, she said proudly, but he could do even better if he surrounded himself with the right people. Her eyes slid to me. Familiar. Predictable. Sharp. You need people who push you forward, she continued, not people who hold you back. Usually, I would have stayed quiet, let it pass, pretended it didn't land. But something in me refused this time. Catherine, I said calmly, setting my fork down, do you think I'm holding Ethan back? Ethan went still. Emily. No, I said gently, I want to hear this. Catherine didn't hesitate. Honestly, she said. Yes. There was no cruelty in her tone this time. No performance. Just honesty. Clean. Direct. I think Ethan could be with someone more ambitious. More driven. Someone who challenges him. You're comfortable. Comfortable. The word again. Like a polite version of not enough. And you've told him that? I asked. Of course, she said. I want what's best for my son. I turned to Ethan. And you've heard her say this before. He looked at his plate. She doesn't mean it like that. How does she mean it? She just wants me to be happy. And I don't make you happy? I asked. That's not what I said. But it's what she said, I replied. And again, you're not disagreeing. Silence. Catherine leaned back slightly. Ethan deserves someone extraordinary, she said. Then she looked at me. You're ordinary. That was it. No anger. No shock. No tears. Just clarity. I looked at Ethan. Waited. One last time. For him to say something. Anything. He didn't. And in that silence, 4 years ended. I stood up. I'm leaving. Emily, don't, he started. I'm done, I said. My voice didn't shake. I've spent 4 years being told I'm not enough, and you've spent 4 years letting it happen. You're overreacting, Catherine began. I looked at her, and for the first time, her words meant nothing. I'm leaving your house, I said calmly, and I'm leaving your son. I met Ethan's eyes. I'm done being ordinary in your life. Then I walked out. That night, I made a decision, and for the first time in 4 years, I didn't second guess it. I spent the next 3 weeks planning, quietly. Carefully, like someone preparing to disappear. I found a new apartment. Small, simple, mine. Signed the lease. Arranged movers. Packed slowly. Boxes hidden in the spare room he never used. I told my boss I needed time off. Told Lauren I might need a place to stay for a few days. And Ethan? He noticed nothing. We lived in the same apartment. But we weren't really living together anymore. We were just existing in parallel. Strangers with shared space. Waiting for something neither of us could name. Until last night, when he left for his mother's house, just like every Sunday. Are you coming? He asked. I shook my head. You go. He hesitated. My mom's been asking about you. I almost smiled. I'm sure she has. He nodded, grabbed his keys, left at 6 p.m., and as the door closed behind him, I started packing the rest, the final pieces, the illusion, the life I was about to walk away from. By 11 p.m., everything I owned was gone. And at 11:47, I left the note. Picked up my bag, and walked out the door, without looking back. By the time Ethan got home, everything was already over. Not breaking. Not falling apart. Over. The note was still on the counter where I left it. 3 sentences. No explanation. No apology. Just the truth I should have said years ago. By midnight, my phone started ringing. I didn't need to look to know it was him, but I did anyway. Ethan. 12:03 a.m. Ignored. 12:07 a.m. Ignored. 12:11 a.m. Ignored. I sat on the edge of Lauren's guest bed, phone in my hand, watching his name flash across the screen like it could pull me back if I stared at it long enough. It couldn't. By 1 a.m., 23 missed calls. By 2 a.m., 41. By sunrise, 87 times he tried to reach me. 87 times I chose not to answer. Because for once, I wasn't reacting. I was deciding. I slept. Deep, undisturbed. The kind of sleep that feels like your body is finally safe. When I woke up at 9 a.m., I checked my phone. Missed calls. Messages. Voicemails. I didn't open any of them. I didn't need to. Whatever he had to say now should have been said a long time ago. I turned the phone face down, made coffee, ate breakfast, and sat there in the quiet, realizing how loud my life had been before. Not with noise, but with tension, with anticipation, with the constant, exhausting need to brace myself for the next comment, the next dismissal, the next moment I would be told I was too much, or not enough, or simply overreacting. Ethan showed up at my work on the second day. Security called my desk. "There's a man here asking for you. Says his name is Ethan. He says it's urgent." I closed my eyes for a second, not because I was overwhelmed, but because I already knew what I was going to say. "Tell him I'm not available." "He's insisting." "Then you can escort him out." There was a pause. Then, understood. I hung up, went back to my screen, and kept working. 10 minutes later, security confirmed he had been escorted out. I didn't look for him, didn't go downstairs, didn't check the parking lot. But when I left at 6 p.m., his car was there, parked near the exit, waiting. I saw him before he saw me, hands on the steering wheel, eyes scanning every car that passed. For a second, something in my chest shifted. Not longing, not regret, just memory. Then he saw me, got out of the car immediately. "Emily!" I didn't stop, didn't slow down. I got into my car, locked the doors, started the engine. He stood there just outside, confusion turning into something sharper, something desperate. He knocked on the window once. "Please, just talk to me." I drove away. He followed me for 3 blocks. Then he stopped, and I kept going. Catherine tried calling from a different number. I answered once, by accident. "Emily," her voice came through, controlled, composed. "We need to talk." I almost smiled. "We." Not you. Not, "I'm sorry." Just we. "There's nothing to talk about," I said. "Ethan is devastated. He had 4 years to fix that." "You're being dramatic," she snapped, ending a relationship over a few comments. "A few," I interrupted gently. Silence. Then, "You're throwing away something real." I looked out the window of my new apartment. Small. Quiet. Mine. "No," I said calmly. "I'm walking away from something that was slowly breaking me." "Ethan loves you." "Then he should have protected me." "I'm his mother," she said sharply. "He can't choose between us." I let that sit for a moment, because she had finally said it out loud. The truth they had both been living by. "He already did," I said. "He chose you, every time." And I hung up. Blocked the number. Blocked every number she tried after that. By day 3, the calls stopped. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was peaceful. I moved into my new apartment that weekend. A small studio. No extra space. No shared closets. No compromises. Everything I owned fit into it easily. Like my life had been waiting to become this simple. Lauren helped me unpack. We ordered pizza. Sat on the floor because I didn't have furniture yet. "You seem different," she said, watching me. "Different how?" "Lighter." I thought about that. Because she was right. "I'm not carrying something anymore," I said. "What?" "The need to prove I'm enough." She smiled softly. "Good." A week passed. Then 2. Life didn't magically become perfect, but it became clear. And that clarity felt like freedom. I started rebuilding. Slowly. Not rushing. Not replacing. Just existing. Without being diminished. 2 weeks after I left, I went on a date. Nothing serious, just coffee. His name was Daniel, a freelance photographer. Easy smile. Calm energy. We talked for 2 hours. About work. Life. Small things. Normal things. At one point, he asked about my last relationship. "It ended recently," I said. He nodded, giving me space to choose how much to share. "His mother didn't like me," I added, "and he never defended me." Daniel frowned slightly. "That sounds exhausting." It was. "What made you leave?" I thought about it for a second, then answered honestly. I realized I was spending more energy surviving his family than building a life with him. He nodded slowly. "I've been there," he said. "Different situation, same feeling." We smiled. Because sometimes understanding doesn't need details, just recognition. That night, I came home to my apartment. Quiet. Still. Safe. I checked my phone. 1 voicemail. Unknown number. I hesitated. Then pressed play. Ethan's voice. Unsteady. Breaking. Emily, I know you don't want to talk to me. A pause. I need you to know that I see it now. My chest didn't tighten, didn't ache. I just listened. My mom, she's been asking why you left, telling me I should find someone better. A shaky breath. And for the first time, I told her to stop. Silence. I told her you were the best thing I had. And she drove you away. Another pause. She hung up on me. We haven't spoken in 3 days. His voice cracked. I'm so sorry. I should have done that a long time ago. I closed my eyes. Not in pain. Not in longing. Just acknowledgement. I don't expect you to call me back, he said quietly. I just needed you to know. The voicemail ended. I replayed it once, then deleted it. He saw it. Finally. Understood it. Too late. And that's the part people don't always talk about. Sometimes growth comes after the damage is already done. Sometimes people learn only after they've lost you. And by then, it doesn't change anything. I don't hate him. I don't hate her. I just don't belong in that story anymore. Closure isn't a conversation. It's a decision. I decided I was done. And that was enough. I'm building something new now. A life that doesn't require me to shrink. A life where I'm not compared. Not dismissed. Not called ordinary. Because I'm not. I never was. I just spent too long trying to prove it to the wrong people. 87 missed calls. That's what it took for him to realize I was serious. But it only took me one decision. To finally choose myself. And the strange thing about that choice is how peaceful it feels once you make it. Because self-respect doesn't beg. It doesn't explain. It doesn't wait. It walks away. And sleeps just fine after.